Hey everybody, welcome to a fun video that I decided to put together, trying to come up with a new route for the Disneyland Half Marathon. If you ran the Disneyland Half in January, or you're planning on running the Disneyland Half, you've probably seen some comments about the course this year. I thought the time in the parks was fine, was adequate. It was pretty much on par with other Disneyland Half Marathons, as far as time in the parks and backstage. So that part I didn't really have a problem with. The part I had a problem with, and along with so many others, was after the parks. So typically, for the Halloween Half and other races, you would kind of go out Ball Road, the back of the park, head over to Angel Stadium, be able to run through Angel Stadium, and then back to the park. In this particular race, they basically, once you left the park, you were kind of in Anaheim for about a mile to 2 miles, and then in Garden Grove, up Garden Grove Boulevard, Harbor Boulevard, and it just was not great. Maybe I'm jaded a little bit because I just did Dopey, and all those races are on Disney property. You have got the characters, but there just weren't a lot of bands out. There weren't a lot of cheering sections. There weren't a lot of spectators. It was just kind of a ho-hum race. So I kind of wanted to kind of try my hand at creating a new route for the Disneyland Half. Obviously, Disney's not going to take this advice at all. But basically, my strategy was to make sure I think the Disneyland Half was my 7th or 8th Disneyland Half Marathon. So I've run a few. So basically, I wanted to create a route that was using paths that they've used before, for the most part. So I didn't want to create something that was just going to be not going to work. That it would never work. I wanted to make sure it was somewhat feasible to do. And I actually, when I actually finished, I actually think it actually came out to be more than feasible. So that's where I'm at. So let's go ahead and start. So you might see me kind of looking over to the left here a little bit. That's where I've got my route. So if you see me kind of going like this, that's just because I'm kind of looking over there for reference. So just keep that in mind. So the races are going to start and end exactly where they started and ended for the Halloween Half last year and the Disneyland Half this year. That's not changing at all. I didn't want to say, okay, we're just going to have an entirely new area. Nope, it's going to start and end in the same spot. The first mile is going to be basically mirroring the Disneyland Half that just happened in January. So starting on Disney Way, turning left onto Harbor, and then right onto Catella, basically behind Disney California Adventure. So that's basically where the route is starting. From there, it actually continues pretty much the same route as the Disneyland Half. So it's going to make a right on Disneyland Drive, head backstage behind Disney California Adventure, behind Pixar Pier, and then into the park between Incredicoaster and Cars Land, and then into Cars Land. Again, basically the same route that the Disneyland Half took last month. From there, it's going to go backstage behind California Adventure, behind Avengers, behind Cars Land, behind Hollywood, and it's, again, pretty much the same route that they've done for the Disneyland Half. This kind of goes on a loop around that parking lot a little bit, just to give a little bit more time. It's going to basically continue backstage and then down through the tunnel that we took for the Disneyland Half again this year, and then head up backstage at Disneyland behind Tomorrowland. So from there, it's going to continue to take that same route behind Tomorrowland, between Harbor and the monorail kind of that we took, and then kind of behind It's a Small World and behind Toontown. So from there, it's going to loop around the Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway building, the Roger Rabbit building, and then head on stage at Disneyland, basically in Toontown. If you ran the Disneyland Half, this is where we actually ran the other direction out of Toontown into backstage. So it's kind of reversing that route there that we ran through Toontown. So you run through Toontown, going to run through the parade corridor between, by It's a Small World, out to Matterhorn. You're going to make that loop around Matterhorn, basically between Matterhorn and the Autopia and the subs. Go around Tomorrowland, through Tomorrowland, and then basically end up back in the hub. From there, once you reach the hub, gonna turn right, basically back into the parade corridor until we reach Alice in Wonderland, and then make a left over into Fantasyland. So from there, we'll make that loop in Fantasyland, through the castle, and then kind of a right turn after you exit the castle into Frontierland, heading up through Big Thunder Trail next to Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. So from there, we'll head into Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, kind of make a right turn where the Kylo Ren ship is, a little bit of backstage behind there in that section, so we can come around the other side and get that iconic shot in front of the Millennium Falcon, and then basically a right turn through the rest of Galaxy's Edge, through the buildings there, the ships, Rise of the Resistance, and then out into Bayou Country, out in front of Tiana's Bayou Adventure. From there, we'll basically just loop around the Rivers of America, all the way through past Pirates. Then we'll head up over into Adventureland. Obviously, we've already used that Frontierland spot. We can't kind of go back. There's not enough room there. So through Adventureland, and then a right turn onto Main Street, and then out through the entrance of Disneyland and into the Esplanade. So once we hit the Esplanade, we'll head into Disney California Adventure, run right through Buena Vista Street, make a left into Hollywoodland. Once we hit right past PhilharMagic by Schmoozies, make another left, kind of do that loop around Monsters Incorporated, and then basically run the path from there all the way through Avengers Campus, past Spider-Man, and then through, make another right kind of into past the main entrance of Avengers Campus right there, and then a left onto the performance corridor at Disney California Adventure. So from there, we'll run through by the winery, by San Francisco, and then make a right near the little fountain there, heading into Pixar Pier and over the bridge into Pixar Pier, run around the boardwalk of Pixar Pier, past Incredicoaster, past Toy Story, Inside Out, the swings, kind of that full loop around Pixar Pier. Once we hit where Mermaid is, we'll make that left turn heading towards Grizzly River Run, all through Grizzly, all through that area there, and then we'll head out of Disney California Adventure through the gate that's basically right next to Soarin' Over the World, Soarin' Over California, that heads basically right out to Downtown Disney. From there, we will run all the way through Downtown Disney, all the way through to the, basically, if you're familiar with Downtown Disney, before you get into security, basically between the end of Downtown Disney and the start of the Disneyland Hotel, there's kind of a service road there, or there's a road there. It's not vehicular anymore. I think it used to be. So they probably use it for emergency crews and things like that. And we're going to kind of take that road to the left and head towards the parking lot that is behind the Pixar Hotel. So this is where it gets kind of, for lack of a better word, boring. Because you have to find a mile somewhere. I didn't want to go out into neighborhoods. I didn't want to go all the way out into, off into Catella. So basically, we're going to do a couple loops around the parking lot that's there behind the Pixar Hotel. So we'll kind of go back and forth a little bit. Not the most fun, but you can have some bands out there, have some marching bands, whatever it is out there. Do a couple loops. You'll be able to wave to people kind of going back the other direction. Like I said, not the most exciting, but we can kind of it's still probably more exciting than running through Garden Grove. No offense to anybody who lives in Garden Grove. So once we get the end of that loop, we'll be right around mile 8. So we've got 5 miles to go. So now we got to make up 5 miles. in and around the resort area. So once we exit that parking lot, we'll take a left turn on Disneyland Drive. So, you know, we used that first part of Disneyland Drive to go behind Pixar Pier at the beginning of the race. Now we're mile 8. We're going to kind of make a left turn on Disneyland Drive on the left side, or I guess the hotel side, I should say, of Disneyland Drive, because we're going to use the other side in a minute. So the left side, the hotel side, where Pixar and Disneyland Hotel is, on that side of the road. So that's going to loop up. You're going to take that road all the way up to Magic Way, which is the street that is right next to the Mickey and Friends and Pixar Pier, or Pixar Pals parking structure. Make a left on Magic Way. You're going to make a U-turn on Magic Way back to Disneyland Drive, and then you're going to take a right, but on the Grand Californian side of Disneyland Drive, head all the way down to Catella from there. So because we've already used that second part of Disneyland Drive for the first half, the first bit, it's going to be cleared by that time. So we're going to kind of finagle. You can see how it kind of crosses over from the Grand Californian side over to the Pixar side, Pixar Hotel side. So you're going to make that right turn on Catella, and then you're going to take the next right, which is on Walnut, which is the street that basically runs right behind the parking lot there and behind the Mickey and Friends and Pixar Pals parking structure. You're going to take Walnut all the way up to Ball, which is basically a mile in each direction. So that's how you're going to make up your miles. You're going to take it all the way up, U-turn, all the way back on Walnut, which is going to take you to mile 12 now. And basically, mile 12 in this route is pretty much exactly where mile 12 was during the Disneyland Half in January. You're going to continue to take Catella all the way the rest up to Harbor, make the left onto Harbor, make the right on Disney Way, and then straight to the finish. So that's my idea for the Disneyland Half. It gives you a lot of park time. You're not going out into the city. You have a lot of areas where you can have bands and entertainment. Obviously, that parking lot loop is not the best, but I would prefer that over some random streets in, you know, Anaheim and Garden Grove. So let me know in the comments what you think of my new route. If you think it's going to work, if you think I should email somebody at Run Disney and say, hey, how about this? Even though I'm sure that they really don't care. But I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Anything that you would change, improve, or if you think that I'm pretty much on the right path here. All right, thanks for watching. Thank you for those who watched our entire Dopey Challenge series that we rolled out, Disneyland Half video that we rolled out a couple weeks ago, and then obviously this one. Take care, and we will talk to you soon.